Hi, and welcome back to Walking the Virtual Dog. Now, this is the show where we take an in-depth look at the IT industry through the eyes of the IT industry analyst. I'm Rick Grant, and I'm joined today, as always, by veteran industry analyst relations practitioner Thomas Ward Lynch. Thomas, thanks for being with us today.
It's a great day. It's a good day to talk about research and analysts and IT and
Well, you're
walking
tracking
virtual dog.
you're
So
tracking
here we are.
all of that stuff you're tracking, and so I can't wait to hear what landed on your radar this week.
Well, Rick, some fantastic research was done from Gartner, and it was highlighted in a publication called the Council of Supply Chain Management Professionals Quarterly last month. And the discussion was all about new trends for 2023 in supply chain management. So again, a fantastic set of work. They surveyed 499 supply chain leaders from October through December of 2022, almost virtually around the world, North America, Latin America, Western Europe, and the Asia Pacific region. And the results show that, and we're going to start with this first because it's kind of important to give a context of the emphasis that's being placed worldwide on the supply chain aspect of the business ecosystem. The results show that 65% of the respondents said they anticipate it'll be easier to find new technology investments this year, with 73% of supply chain IT budgets slated to be allocated to growth and performance enhancements. So, in other words, Rick, this is a hot topic, and this is also a focus of investment. It is something that IT leaders need to, really take a long look and have attention to. So, we're going to start off with one of the primary authors of the report, Simon Jacobson, and take a look at his quote, which is, "The last 3 years of uncertainty have blurred the line between business and technology strategies to the point that they must be considered together. Supply chain leaders must have an understanding of the strategic, disruptive, and unavoidable technologies that will impact their planning process over the next 5 years." So here's the thing, Rick, just to give context of the trends that were identified here. They are summarized with three key motivators or three key motivations among supply chain leaders that help to categorize this year's technology trends. So they kind of, in a way, Rick, provide context, and they also provide somewhat of a container. Well, you'll see this in a minute in the graphic, which is excellent. So let's start off with the first motivator. The first key motivator is to pioneer new forms of engagement. The second is to optimize for resilience. The third is to scale performance that enables technology to be delivered any place at any time. And now that we've covered off on the three motivators, let's kind of get a context by throwing up the next chart where you can see everything together. Okay, so again, you see pioneering, scale, and optimizing on the outside. Those are the motivators. Inside the pioneering is smart operations and actionable AI. And on the scaling side, it's composable application architecture. We'll get into that in a moment, explain each of these. Supply chain integration services is also included, as well as cyber resilient supply chains. Now, on the optimization side, employee engagement, mobile asset optimization, and industry cloud platforms. So this is a lot to go through. So as you look through this, though, it's fantastic how this has some incredible context, I think. So let's look at each of these trends in more detail, starting with number one, actionable AI. Okay, so actionable AI delivers better data-driven decisions by mimicking problem solving. By the way, I like the term actionable AI instead of just the category and the classification of generative AI. It's really talking about operationalizing AI for business when it says actionable AI. Great terminology. Delivers better data-driven decisions by mimicking the problem solving that humans make by augmenting decisions and keeping humans in the loop for validation purposes. Actionable AI learns patterns based off past decisions and experiences to adapt to changing real-world circumstances. Solutions continuously retrain models and learn within the runtime and development environments based on the new data. Number two, smart operations. Smart operations extends the pre-existing concept of smart manufacturing. And we've talked a little bit about smart manufacturing and some of the challenges, especially when it comes to supply chain, to encompass all core operational capabilities, including manufacturing, service, and logistics that span warehousing, transportation, and global trade. This involves the orchestration of a web of different and distributed processes and the underlying systems and data that support them. While manufacturing is ahead in pursuing smart operations, logistics organizations are rapidly embracing the potential of this idea to transform their business. Number 3, mobile asset optimization. Mobile asset optimization maximizes the use of an enterprise's mobile assets by combining business process software, sensory technologies, and operational research techniques for optimization and business intelligence. This has implications inside the warehouse, where the intralogistics smart robots are garnering attention and investment. Outside, transportation visibility platforms can show carrier activity and capacity, improving collaboration between shippers, carriers, and logistics providers. Notice how, as we talk about supply chain, Rick, in this context, it mentions earlier a web. Notice how that web is growing. Notice how it's gone outside the warehouse, and it's pulling in shippers, carriers, logistics providers as well. Think of the implications of that. Number 4, industry cloud platforms. Industry cloud platforms combine software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service with specific functionality for vertical industry use cases. They do so not as predefined one-off vertical software as a service solutions, but rather as agile, composable platforms supported by a catalog of industry-specific packaged business capabilities. In effect, they turn a cloud platform into a business platform and expand a technology innovation tool into one that also serves as a business innovation tool, creating added value beyond traditional cloud approaches. Number 5, employee engagement. Employee engagement, what can we do without employees involved, right? Employee engagement is a broad set of tools and applications used to help companies improve frontline worker performance, satisfaction, as well as retention. In other words, if you're going to give an employee the tool, make sure that they are well trained on how to use it, and it doesn't cause them to be more frustrated with the position and the job that they have. This trend can span mixed reality and mobile devices to provide content that augments the job, wearables for safety and location management, collaboration tools, and more. These technology investments have to be anchored in a broader workforce strategy that spans knowledge curation, skills development, and training. Trend number 6, composable application architecture. Composable business applications are designed to follow the core design principles of modularity, autonomy, orchestration, and discovery with a specific business use case. These packaged business capabilities are encapsulated software components that represent a well-defined business capability, recognizable as such by an end user. So, Rick, did I lose you on composable application?
A little bit. I admit it, Thomas. A little bit. What exactly are we talking about? This seems new.
It's a new term. Composable architecture refers to an ecosystem that contains independent systems and components, all right, that communicate with each other with the help of APIs. So composable architecture contains several different headless implementation. Think Legos. Okay, they can be joined together in different configurations to make a crane or a helicopter, and they can use the same set of pieces. Another way to look at this inside an organization is composable architecture, composable application architecture says, okay, we have this blanket application. We need the APIs to connect, so that way we can integrate in data, coming from customers into the system. But that doesn't really need to go flowing over to the HR side, even though the overall platform may include HR activity as well, or HR work as well, or data. See what I'm saying? So the application, the composable application architecture, molds and shapes and forms based upon the needs of the organization in order for it to function efficiently. Number 7, cyber resilient supply chains. As supply chains implement more advanced technologies, and as we mentioned, a whole lot more players, right? They add additional supply chain partners, vendors, and service providers through digital supply chain. However, each addition of an external entity to a digital enterprise represents additional digital connectivity and increased cybersecurity vulnerabilities and risks. Cybersecurity represents the tools, processes, and governance methods needed to mitigate cybersecurity risk caused by the extreme heterogeneity of supply chain technologies and ecosystem participants. This is extremely important because without the governance in place, with the additional involvement inside the supply chain and the business ecosystem, there's an entire set of vulnerabilities that are created with every additional layer of participant, every additional layer of involvement. And that's why this list is listed as, okay, as we do this, let's be prepared with the right kind of cybersecurity to keep our data and our companies safe.
Well, Thomas, we got just a taste of what can happen if our supply chains get compromised during COVID, right? We don't want to relive that.
Well, no, we don't. Actually, that's probably part of the driving force that said, okay, I think we need to partner better. I think we need to be more transparent. I think we need more involvement from our from all of our partners that help to make the supply chain efficient and make it move. I think we need a lot more technology involved in the process, which is what brought all this on. I think this is a fantastic report. Let's get to the final trend, which is supply chain integration services. Supply chain integration services encompass and involve the technology platforms, the integration teams, strategic decision making on which applications to connect, when and how through different integration strategies, and finally, cloud services to manage these integrations. Supply chain integration services elevate the role of integration from a tactical, execution-centric, and technical view of system interoperability to a strategy-led vision of a more interconnected world. So, Rick, let's throw up that graphic one more time and put all these trends together. These trends and the driving motivations that we see here truly represent the result of great research on the part of the Gartner analysts. They produce some great work that can be used for reference by all supply chain and IT executives worldwide.
It's a fantastic report, Thomas. I mean, so much packed into one thing. And I know you only touched the surface of what was in there. How are our viewers going to find more information on this?
Well, naturally, continue to subscribe to this, but also we have newsletters. We're providing links now where that you can pick up the newsletter and also be part of our community where we talk about the research. And we've got a lot more to say about supply chains in this particular set of segments. There was some fantastic additional research that came out from Gartner, as well as some research that I actually dug around and found in some white papers that were written by Forrester and publicized for some of their sponsoring vendors. It's a very evolving trend right now, or overall focus of IT. It's a focus of companies. It's a focus of organizations. You mentioned earlier, we all lived through this strange supply chain problems of COVID and how we had tankers lined up and we had freighters lined up out in the ocean trying to get unloaded in different docks around the country, particularly in California. And nobody really wants to go through that again. And, so the time has come for us to do what we need to do to tighten things up. And you know where they're looking to get that done? They're looking back to IT. They're looking back to IT leadership, the C-suite, and say, okay, how can we make sure this isn't going to happen again? And how can we tighten this up? And we're looking to you for answers in terms of the technology that we need to use.
Yeah, where else are they going to look? That makes perfect sense, Thomas. All right, subscribe, like this. You'll see more of it. And Thomas, we're going to be back soon for segment number 2, right?
We're going to take a look again at some of the ramifications in the next segment that has happened as a result of the mixed trends that we're seeing in investments in technology from a standpoint of budgetary. As we said, budgets this year continue to grow, even though we're kind of in a year of strange uncertainties, whether they be socioeconomic or whether they be political. They're a little bit strange right now with wartime in Europe and so forth. So as a result, what has that done to the investment and what has that done to the emphasis in terms of the trends and so forth? We got a lot of banter to share in the next segment about what the analysts say over here and what the analysts say over here about what's next in terms of investment and when the cycles will start to normalize.
I can't wait. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next time on Walking the Virtual Dog.